I bought this kit back in January with a view to entering a little group build stroke buddy build with some fellow content creators. The rules presented were simple. Any F-15 in a scheme that is not included in the box. So a fictitious F-15 essentially is what we're going for. Now, I've never done a group build before, I've never made an F-15 before, and I'm not entirely sure I've ever made a kit in 1/144th scale before. So naturally, that's what I decided to go for. And whilst we're doing a load of firsts, I also decided to do a little diorama as well, because why not? And in this video we're going to see how I got on. At the time that I'm recording this, there are only a couple of other videos that have gone live from this little group build. I will link them below. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and you'll see a post about it when I share the videos of the other people who are yet to post or finish their builds. And whilst you're there, if you wouldn't mind hitting the notification bell and the like, if you like this video, then that would be appreciated too. But that's all for now, so why don't we see what we get when we open up the Revell F-15E and bombs in 1/144th scale. Scalemate says that this is a 2011 tool. Obviously, being Revell, you cannot tell from the box in any way, shape or form, but we have this rather eye-catching image of an F-15E fully armed and ready to go. Gives you the dimensions, the scale. I like how it says "and bombs" in little letters as if it's an afterthought, and the usual stuff on the side there and there. Other kits available in the range. Also, it explains the skill level system. This is a... there you go, it says it there. Skill level 3. It says it on the end. For some reason it doesn't say it on the front. I'm sure that would make more sense, but oh well, what do I know. And so this is what we have inside. Let's just quickly go over the instructions. Yep, I was expecting that. There's a... oh, there we go. There's the decal sheet. There we go. We'll probably use the stencils and the interior ones from that, but nothing else as part of this challenge. I say challenge, it's not actually a challenge, is it? It's a just a what-if group build. General safety advice: do not insert in places it shouldn't be inserted. Do not drink, eat or smoke the model. All the usual stuff. And classic old school Revell instructions. Printed in Poland in 2015. Showing this is the second release of this kit. Oh, it opens up that way. Okay, then it opens down. Hey, there we go. Oh, then it opens up. Oh. Okay, I'm going to have to show a picture of how big this is. This is getting a bit silly now. Paints demonstrated by letters. I'm struggling to stretch without hitting things. Part 25 is bombs and stuff. And the other side has a sprue map and parts listed there, and then to there, and then down to that side. Colour call out, which is irrelevant because I'm not doing that version because I can't. Anyway, yeah, that is the most ridiculous. It's on the floor. That is one of the most ridiculous sets of instructions I have ever seen for the size of the kit. Speaking of, here we have the bag. Clear parts. Let's have a little look inside. Tape off. Clear parts are in their own separate bag. You have a separate windshield and main canopy, and then you have a total of 5 sprues. We have this one here. A little bit of flash is the first thing I see on the cockpit tub. Some seats, instrument panel, undercarriage leg. There's the main body, presumably the top. Yes, there's the top. So that's 1. 2 is this one here, where we have the nose. See, long and pointy nose. Some drop tanks. Look like the exhaust nozzles. There's the exhaust nozzles as well there. A couple of very finely detailed missiles. Look very, very smart. I like that. So that's 2. 3 is this one here. Again, they're the laser-guided bombs, I think, aren't they? So just weapon stuff. Nothing significant. A teeny sprue comprising just 2 more missiles and appropriate mounts for them. And a final sprue featuring the other half of the fuselage. Some more flash, aka extra value for money. More plastic than you'd ever expect. And I don't know what they are. Some mounting. Oh, they'll be the mountings underneath the fuselage, won't they? Yeah, and there we go, that's it. See, not much to it. Although still, considering the scale... not much to it, yet considering the scale, also quite a lot to it. But there we go, that's it. That one there. That one there. And that one there. Construction begins, as to be expected, with the interior, and the cockpit was given a coat of Humbrol acrylic number 64. This was just brush painted on. Now, you don't normally see me using Humbrol acrylics, but I bought these when I first moved to acrylic paints just to bulk up and order from Airfix. These days, I'd probably just buy a Tiger Moth or 3 to bulk it up, but hey, back then I thought the paint would be a good idea, and it's perfectly fine for the job. Not the best paint, but hey, it's a very small interior. Anyway, the interior of the engine intakes was then painted white, also brush painted, this time with a Hataka insignia white, and there are also separate intake, they're not nozzles, they're just intake shapes. If you know the word, put the word down below, put me out my misery, but the intake separate parts anyway were also brush painted white. They would later be blocked with blue tack to make sure they didn't get sprayed by the exterior colour. The sidewall details were then picked out in black. There are actually a couple of decals for this aircraft. I say a couple. There's instrument panels for both cockpits, and I believe there's a couple on these sidewalls as well. But they are black, and they tell you to paint the background black. And the detail is so small that you can't see it because everything is, you guessed it, black. So I tried to put the decals on the instrument panels and realised it was a complete waste of time. There was no way, and no way that even with all of the decal softening solution in the world, I would ever get these to fit. So, you know what, sod it, I just painted them black. And so too the frames of the pilot's seats. And this is surprisingly well moulded and well detailed for the size. Very impressed, if I'm honest. A dark green, I've already forgotten which exact dark green, but a miscellaneous dark green, your choice may vary, was used for the fabric, which brings an end to the detail supplied. You've got these 2 control columns, and the instrument panels and the seats, they're all glued in place very carefully with tweezers. I'm a bit disappointed that there were no pilot figures or below with this kit, especially as I intend on doing it with the wheels up. Part of the reason for not putting the decals on the instrument panel is that I was fully expecting to have pilots. I knew they weren't in the kit, but I was expecting to be able to acquire some. It turns out even that it's very difficult to actually get hold of 1/44 figures, especially if you're looking for something specific. Quite disappointing, and it was so small that I tried to make them, and just couldn't. Just no, it's too small. Just no, stop building in this scale, it's too small. Anyway, the nose is a separate section, as you can see here, which encases the bits that we've already done, and then the top and bottom of the wing section form the main fuselage as well. So all in one big moulded lump. As I haven't built an aircraft like this ever, and I've not built anything in this scale to the best of my knowledge ever, this was all new to me, but I'm pretty sure this is standard for an aircraft like this, to be honest. And now I'll be perfectly honest, this is the problem with recording a narration a good 5 or 6 months after actually building the model. I specifically recorded without audio, me showing off a section of the instructions. There's obviously something which bugged me about it, and I knew what it was back in January or February, whenever it was I made this, but for the life of me I can't remember what it is. But here it is. It's these tail planes, listed as 11 and 12, and here I am showing them, and I think they're the wrong way round. I think. One of them has longer holes than the other. You see there on the bit that interfaces with the aircraft, there's a bigger gap on one side than the other side. So I think what the instructions did was put 11 where it should have been 12 and vice versa. That is the best recollection I've got from it, and I haven't been able to double check because, surprise, surprise, I glued the plane together. But that's what I think happened there. I did actually find this a little bit difficult, that they don't stay at the right angle. They just rely on you positioning them to the best you can do by eye. I would like it if there was a little bit more of a rib to glue to, or a lug or something to help with that. A little bit flimsy. But anyway, that's just a warning to anyone that's thinking of making videos, is maybe make notes when you're building it, because even though I intended to complete this in a quick time, it took 6 months. Anyway, moving on. The rest of the plane basically just fell together. Got some fuselage mounts, you know what I mean, the weapons mounts on the fuselage, and here the 2 exhaust nozzles. They were not painted before going in because they're going to be useful for the diorama. Onto the painting, and the entire aircraft was primed in Tamiya primer, and then this Hataka light gull grey was used on the bottom. This is of course a brush ready paint that I have thinned with the Hataka thinner to make it a better consistency for the airbrush. This insignia red is going on the white that I didn't film myself painting, but the rudders were painted white and then very, very carefully masked to be 13 stripes, alternating red and white. To do this I had to very precisely cut the masking tape to be the exact width that I needed, and that took far too long and was very stressful, and I do not like masking, and I especially don't like it when I have to spend my time cutting masking tape. But hey, I chose this crazy life, so I'll have to deal with it. For the top colour I used this intermediate blue, which strictly speaking is not quite right for the period that I'm going for. I'm a bit mixed over what I think it should be, because some places show it as an obvious grey and others show it as a much bluer blue-grey, but either way, it's the paint that I had available, so that's what I've gone for. Once the entire model was given a coat of gloss varnish, the decals can go on. These were just found in my spares box. If you want to know what they're from, you'll have to guess, because I don't know. I have a lot of aircraft from the interwar period in American colours, and these are obviously from them. Something small, clearly. Maybe some of them are from a Wildcat. I don't know. Either way, we've got roundels in 6 positions, so top wings, bottom wings, and then 2 slightly smaller ones on the side of the fuselage. I did originally want to have some white lettering to suggest a carrier that this was based on, but the F-15 wasn't a carrier-borne plane. And even within the realms of this fictitious aircraft that I'm making, I did have to set myself some sort of a goal, and well, I thought I'd keep it land-based. So I couldn't find any white lettering small enough. I didn't want to try and fabricate something, so it is just nice, simple decals in 6 positions. Having never really dabbled in dioramas before, this is what I have ended up with. It's not what I originally envisaged. However, the scale is the biggest issue that I have faced with this project. So I had this idea of a vortex, a time portal, something looking a bit more 3D, and then the clouds, which are replicated here by cotton wool. As you can see, however, it is just black. It was actually really difficult for me to try and replicate depth in such a small scale. If it were larger, then I think I probably could have got away with it. But either way, this is a photo frame. This is a cheap photo frame from B&M, still being used as a photo frame. You see, it can still sit down, and it still has a hook so it can hang, as I'm sure you will see later. Currently, there is a pin just taped in. This will be fixed when I've decided on the angle. That is a bit of sprue with some cotton wool which has been dyed slightly grey. I'd like to get it more grey, however, well, I couldn't, and that's just the colour it's going to be. The clouds then are white with the occasional hint of purple, which again has been dyed, just standard cotton wool. There's the occasional bit of glitter in here. For that I used Hobbycraft biodegradable glitter. The glitter is there just every now and again to get a bit of a shine, although a bit too much of it has ended up on the black. It was supposed to be just in the clouds, kind of look like moisture, but not quite. So the goal is to have that sitting there, and then the plane, which is here. This is all just a dummy fit, as you see. I haven't finished it yet. I haven't got the weapons on. That will follow soon. I just didn't want to have the weapons on and then play around with it a lot. I wanted to get everything ready so that when the weapons are on, just boop, stick on. The other exhaust has another bit of sprue and some grey cotton wool just blue tacked in. I've just created glue tack. I probably haven't created it. And so this is just going to be fixed on like that. Haven't worked out the angle, probably banking. I think it'll just look more imposing. There we go. Something like that. As you see, it sits there nicely. And then it can just look like it has flown through whatever this is that it's flown by. The depth isn't quite there, as I've said, but, well, first ever diorama, and that's what I've gone for. A quick apology as to not actually filming this side of things, but I was just kind of doing it off camera, in my spare time, sitting not even necessarily at my desk. I did a lot of it whilst also playing Fallout 4, for example. Just during loading screen, slap a bit of PVA glue down. That's the point, PVA glue. That's what I use for it. Just PVA glue, cotton wool, and then, yeah, everything kind of assembled around that. The weapons instructions on this kit are the biggest piece of anxiety-inducing trash I've ever seen. It just gives you question marks, some options for sticking things somewhere. It doesn't make it clear where they go, and at no point does it show you what it actually should look like assembled. So I have just improvised because at this point that is all I can do. I have used this cheap Hobbycraft purple paint to paint the tip of the missile, which I believe is an AMRAAM, but in this diorama it is being used for something special. And then as you can see here, the canopy was just covered in flash down the bottom. I mean, I know I talk about it being extra value because you get more plastic, but yeah, this kit is showing its age a little bit, which is a bit disappointing because it's not even that old. But then here is the result. I put drop tanks on each of the pylons, and I put the 4 bombs just where I thought they could fit. It has a sidewinder, and then it has one purple-tipped missile, because that is how this aircraft has managed to travel back in time. Because yes, this is the answer to the age-old question, what if an F-15 travelled back to Pearl Harbor? And I imagine it would have looked something like this as it whizzed through a time portal, painted in the appropriate colour, so as not to cause quite as much shock to the poor inhabitants below as this thing barrels past at just shy of supersonic speeds. And despite me saying I was going to permanently fix it, I didn't. I just I botched it. So let's get over to the final result. As stated, this is an F-15 flying back in time to Pearl Harbor, something which has been ranted about online. There's even been a film about it, there are YouTube videos, what would have happened? Well, I don't know, but maybe they discovered a way that they could open a time portal using a missile and thus make it portable. And so we see the return missile hanging on the port wing whilst the starboard one has been fired to get it through to, well, 1941. The purple tip on the missile is obviously an indicator to the ground crew that this is a very special cargo, as, well, time portals are obviously purple, that's just a fact, and the purple hue in the clouds is the remnants of the time portal as it fades away with the F-15 roaring through it, heading on its important mission. Maybe the fact that it's only carrying 4 bombs indicates that it's only there to cause damage, just to lessen the impact of the Pearl Harbor attack and maybe change the course of the war without quite as much loss of life, rather than to completely dominate and transform history forever. But who knows? It's fictitious. You can build your own reality around it. This hasn't been much of a review of the kit. It was fine, it assembled nicely, but it's a bit small for me. I really should have gone for something a bit bigger, but it's nice to push the boundaries of what I'm comfortable with, and I think the end result is quite eye-catching. Although, as an aside, the canopy is not fully glued on, as if I can find some pilots, I will rectify the glaring omission. So all that remains is for me to ask, what do you think? Have you done what-if models? Do you like the idea of the photo frame? Any tips for me for making it look slightly better and maybe even doing a vortex in such a small scale? Any help would be appreciated. Don't forget to check out the other content creators that have done an F-15 what-if video, or will be releasing some soon. Keep posted. And don't forget, you can become a channel member if you want to support the channel directly. These people on screen are very much appreciated. They help motivate me to keep doing stuff like this, pushing the boundaries of what I feel comfortable with, and are greatly appreciated. So thank you. If you don't want to join them, then by all means, please do. But if not, just thank you for watching this far. Please watch another video, like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will hopefully see you again in another video. Goodbye.